Hey, before we get started, currently the YouTube memberships and donations are down. YouTube is out to get me into conspiracy. But the people who are signed up, World Champ level Freak Maniac 90210 and our Grand Slam Raz. There's a bunch of different perks and stuff that I would tell you all about, but you can't see it anyway, so we're not going to worry about it. But if you want to support the podcast, links below for all things social media as well as merchandise. And please support my guest links as well. Let's get on with the show. Here's some music by the Converse Kid. This is an ABJ Podcast production. Join us. Would you kindly join us at the Cult of ABJ Discord community? We'll see you there. Join us. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back for another episode of the ABJ Podcast, episode 139, Oliver Twist. I kind of heard a little bit at the start. We have a little bit of a newer startup. We have the brand new ABJ Productions and a little Cult of ABJ Discord community stuff thrown in there. We're trying things out. But check out our guest links below. We're gonna do the merch thing, but I figured like we weren't really selling merch, so I'm not gonna keep every month trying to find something new to put out like a cycle if it's just not selling. So buy the stuff that's there, and if you buy enough, then we'll start doing cool stuff. This is on you. This is on you, the listener. All right. If you are checking this out, audio podcast platform, make sure you hit a little screenshot and tag it on social media, myself and my guests. And if you had any questions that we missed, or if there's anything that you want to add on or feedback, we're always open to hear that. So definitely tag that. Use hashtag ABJ Podcast on all social media. That's something new we're trying. And then also, if you're watching live on the YouTube, whether it be YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, or brand new Kick, make sure you just like and subscribe. It costs you nothing, but it helps us out tremendously. Let's get straight into our episode today. All my guest links are below. Make sure you follow and support. So let's get straight into it. Let's bring in my guest today, Oliver Twist.
Well,
yeah, there it is. We'll get it.
Hi there, handsome.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic. Let's right away. Let's introduce yourself to the listeners. Who is Oliver Twist?
Well, hello there, everybody. I'm Oliver Twist. I am a non-binary drag king hailing from the wonderful town that is filled of Kabasi Fest and, other social drugs. I am the Enigma myself. I crawled out of the Shawnee Cemetery. I am just a fun little Muppet, as I like to call myself.
Fun little Muppet. I love that. I love it.
There's drag kings, and then there is I like to toy with the gender binary where it's like, I'm not masc, I'm not femme. I'm kind of like a Muppet, a little waka waka action. And I serve it all with a smile and a wink.
I love it. So I love the drag community because I never experienced it ever. I didn't get caught with the TV show bug or anything like that. Like I'm into what I'm into, and I sometimes I have a hard time branching out. And this, me as a content creator, me branching out to other things has opened me up to that. And this is another reason why, personally, if I don't get a lot of views, this podcast has been a journey for me mentally. It's like my own little journal. But I went to a drag show that was at our local venue that does a lot of pro wrestling. And
Which
we went there
about that, actually. My cousins know one of the wrestler. They're like longtime best friends, like childhood best friends. So in a weird way, I know the weird community. Guys, it's a small community.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
And we're doing the show is going on, and I was helping out. I was I was called a kitten. I collected the tips. Yeah, I killed it. I did really well. I think I was probably the best kitten of all time. I don't know. So we went there, did our thing. Yeah, the brother. So anyway, went to the show, and I was like, yo, this is so similar to pro wrestling. Like, there's so many aspects where these two worlds are exactly the same.
you guys are fighting for a belt, we're fighting for a sash. It's pretty much the same thing.
Yes, it's very physical. Like the
Yeah,
drops and the like we call them bumps. I'm like, yo, they're bumping. Like they're taking full bumps. Like you have to learn how to fall without hurting yourself.
yeah. The only time I actually do any type of drops is on the sanctuary stage.
Yeah.
I won't trust myself to drop anywhere else. I'm currently trying to deal with the fact that, I'm trying to lessen my time to actually get knee replacement surgery on both knees, so we're trying to take it easy. We're holding myself up together with duct tape, it's fine. I hold my chest back with KT tape, I do the same thing with my knees.
Yeah.
It's time.
And then obviously the best part about professional wrestling, and I feel drag, is you create a different persona, and that persona has a look and an outfit and sometimes makeup. Like it's so pro wrestling. It's amazing.
It is, and we're trying to combine the 2.
Yes. Now what I recently got into, and this is why I also love drag, because it's like pro wrestling. Is pro wrestling is like we say as a wrestling fan, we tell people wrestling is like Baskin Robbins. There's so many different flavors. There's a comedy aspect. There's a aspect. There is the spooky aspect. There every wrestling has a different style, and every style brings something different. And with drag, like there's drag queens and drag kings, and there's horror drag, and then there's like this kind of like I didn't know, like as soon as I found out about horror drag, I'm done. Like
The monsters, you can always relate. See, that's the one thing I think that everybody, performer-wise, we all kinda relate in a way to a monster or, like,
mhm,
fighting your own type of demon in
yeah,
a way. Drag is kind of like, if you think about it, a superhero, if you really want that, like, that type of context. But there's, individuals who are like, "You know what? I really like this whole, like, I've always been a good person, and now I wanna, like, really deep dive into this, like, this darker self, darker image." And when you think about it, and I mean, like, I don't wanna sit here and, like, call out, like, major corporations, but I'm sure you know where I'm going with it when it comes to it, but, like, certain, big corporations, especially in the animation world, have really used villains as a way to interject queerness. Villains
yeah,
will always be, in a way, queer
mhm,
because they are perfect in their own little way. Of course, they have flaws, but they're sassy about it. Um, like, it is being a monster, it's that gateway. It's always been that gateway. Even if you look into D&D or, like, anything that's super nerdy, monsters, when you vilify somebody, I remember being in a couple different panels for, like, just board games. Again, I'm like a super nerd. I might just do drag, but I do a little bit of everything else. So I play board games and I play card games and I do all the type of stuff. But, we had panels and discussions even with D&D and, like, well, why would you actually fight the monster? Why wouldn't you try to talk to the monster and actually get what you need without actually killing it? Or why do this particular race have to be, like, for D&D, why does it always, like, stem on, like, racism? So
mhm.
there's always, like, something, and it's like, "Okay, we're just vilifying this group, we're vilifying this." And it's the same thing even with, like, drag monsters and drag itself. We just
Interesting.
either are glamorous or we're disgusting, or we're funny, we're campy.
Yeah. Well, in the terms of like wrestling, we have faces or heels, good guys, bad guys. That's what I refer to it. But there's also sometimes a heel where they're almost like the justified heel, and they know they're right and they know they're just, but they're just hating on you because you're injustice to them, and you hate them for being right. Like it's one of those deals too. So like, there's villains in pro wrestling that are that much of that. Like they're like someone who's an environmentalist, but they're such an environmentalist that it pisses everyone off, but what they're telling you is correct. Like you should probably take care of, but I don't care about this plastic bottle. Like it's like that. Like, and they lean into the character by kind of holding the mirror up to you. So it's great that I never thought of the drag horror or drag monsters to be thought of like that. I always thought like the other side of it too is where like I already know you're not gonna like me, so I'm just gonna put more things in your face that you don't like, and sometimes it's the punk, horror, religion, whatever it may be, and kind of put that in front of you too to be like you're no matter what I do, if I tried like almost the Magneto approach, right, where it's like I know you're not gonna like me anyway, but you're gonna deal with it, like.
And like it's really interesting because like drag itself has always been in a way political.
Mhm.
It just depends on like what notion and how far you actually want to push the envelope on that. Um, I mean, like there are several kings in our community, or just even queens, kings, just performers that really do push the envelope on that, from like tiny scale to massive scale. And I'm just like, thank you. Thank you. That's what we need right now. We
Mhm.
need to bring it back to where how it was, which is political.
Mhm.
And like letting people know, like, hey, this isn't right. Right now we've actually uh for myself, I'm in a like June is booked up for me, which is lovely. I love that. And I hope that for any performer that's dealing with Pride this year. But and I say dealing with because there has been so much backlash, especially in our areas right now. We are going to be doing Sunbury Pride, like the Columbia County area. Um, we're getting hate on that just for showing up, just for being there. And I'm just like, again, the keyboard warriors are just at it, throwing religion in the face. And I'm like, have you actually opened the book? Have you actually, like, do you abide by this? I don't think that, if we're going to bring religion into it, I don't think that God said, love all these particular people, but hate on these. No, love all thy
Yeah.
children,
He also said
my
don't
neighbor.
judge, so just mind your business sometimes, right?
But you know what? They always wanna do something. They're always, "Hey, my life is so boring and dull." You know what? Imma get up on these hate comments.
Yeah, yeah.
Imma look like a bad a bad doing it.
Yeah.
You're like,
You can curse here, you're good to go.
"Oh, she's looking like I'm gonna be a bad bitch." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Honey, please pull the mullet that you've got going on and just pull it up to the front for me. Just please,
Yeah.
come on."
So when did you find the drag community? When was it something that's been made aware to you, and then how did you proceed to get into it?
So, you know how you and I were talking about high school and actually coming out?
Mhm.
So I actually went to my first drag show back in the summer of 2009. So was just newly out, all that type of stuff. Was able to go to these events because, had my driver's license, had that, all that type of stuff, and saw my first drag show and was like, I really want to get into this. I would love to because you know what? I am this shy, stuttering individual who has something to fight for. Like, I want to make a name for myself. I want to do this. And so shortly after, I started actually competing. At Twist. They would have like little tiny monthly drag shows that they would do. And it was just eye-opening for me. Now, drag was something completely different structurally back then. Um, or that's at least how I viewed it, and that's how I saw it because that's how I was being like that's what I was being shown by a lot of the queens. I was one of the only kings in the area, at least within 2-hour radius near
Wow.
us. Most of the other kings that they were actually getting to actually come down to Twist in the Wilkes-Barre area, they were either Harrisburg or they were up in Syracuse. I
Wow.
remember very fondly, they don't go by their drag name anymore, but it used to be Axel Lilac. They've been considering getting back into drag, but they were one of the first kings that I was able to see, and I'm like, I want to be him. I want to be him. And that's when Spiky Van Dyke kind of first started around that time period, maybe a couple years prior hand. I think Landon was about the same time, maybe a little bit after. But it was just one of those things where it's like, also look at the internet and like technology at that time. We were burning music on CDs. I'm lucky I didn't say flash, I mean floppy disk,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We were on for those too.
So, but it was just one of those things where I'm like, I really want to do this. But with drag and being a drag king, I had to be overtly masculine, and I had long hair. This is my third year, actually, sorry, third year of having short hair. I've had long hair my entire life, so I had to hide that. I didn't do wigs. I would do a big giant pompadour. So all of that was teased, everything sprayed, all that, trying to hide every little last inch of my hair. And it was probably like halfway down my back then.
Wow.
So it was just like one of those things. It was a big giant like 180, well 360 for me at that point, because it's just like, okay, I'm just deep diving right on in. And I did join a drag family, but it mostly was consistent of queens. I just recently found out I technically did have a drag brother, but I didn't know until later on, like this year, that somebody else was also taken in. That's also a local king, a friend of mine. But at the time, there was like three big families in the NEPA area. You had the Sweets, which is Estella Sweet, and her crew. You had the Von Peters, which is Vivica Von Peters and her family. And then you had the Mayhems, which is like Vanessa Mayhem, and a few others.
That's a
But
dope name. Vanessa Mayhem's a
yeah,
dope name.
what's funny is that Vanessa was one of two that are trans queens actually. Um, but back then that was also like, one of the it was a different time. It was a big different time period back then too, back in 2009. But I think they only really wanted me to be like, "Hey, we have a drag king." But they call for the longest time they called me Olive Twist, and I went, "What is this? Am I a martini?" But I was performing in bars where I wasn't 21 yet. I was still 18. And so that was one of those things where I was one of the last ones to be performing at such an early age. And I wish we had more venues where we can have younger performers so that they could actually, get their feet wet, have experience, and enjoy and express themselves.
Yeah, it's like the music scene. Like it's really hard for a local band to come up because a lot of the venues they're going to play are bars. But if you're a younger musician and you want to play rock music, like there's really nowhere to play, and like all the under 21 clubs have all kind of like I think my generation like was the last generation to have them because too many kids were just underage drinking or finding ways, or it always turned into a problem. So they just got rid of most of them.
Yeah, I know of one place that they do punk events at, and concerts at, and I wanna say it's the Curry Donuts in Wilkes-Barre
Yeah,
over
my friend
yeah,
just played a show there. Yeah.
yeah, that is one of the few places I know that they'll have it because it's coffee and donuts, like, you're okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a sick place to do a venue.
Well, I don't
Um,
I don't know a lot of other venues. I was gonna say the Keys, I know that they shut down, but you had to be 21 and up to perform
yeah.
there, right? Yeah.
The only thing we really had growing up was like roller skate rinks. Like some roller skate rinks put like bands and stuff in because it was like an underage thing.
It's the
Dude,
one thing I miss. I miss
yeah,
having the roller like the rinks for that.
I don't
But
think it's a rule that we can't go. Or it's gonna be weird, but we can still go. You know what I mean? I want to fall
they
all the
just this past year, they ended up pushing the event or canceling the event. We were supposed to do a drag show actually at Skateaway. And I'm like, yeah, I'll totally do it. I'm just like, I'll bring out my skates for this. I mean, I need to re-practice, but hey, I
if
mean, I
if, if I don't see drag roller skate limbo before I die, I don't think I've lived my life complete. You know what I mean?
I will make sure that happens.
I think
It's
that'd
just a
be
bunch of us are gonna have to be wearing extra padding because 'cause we're fragile.
yeah.
We might serve and offer so much, sass and tea and all that type of stuff, but at the end of the day, we're just big soft babies. We're just like, "Hey, I'm fragile
Yeah.
and
So
tiny."
when you first went to your first drag show, was there a king on the show, or were you able to experience like how did you even know that you were like eligible to do drag? Because like for me going to it, I thought it was only one group of people. Like I didn't know a drag king existed until you hit the stage, and then I was like, wait a second. And then someone had to explain that whole aspect. So I was like a baby bird eating food I'm like, this is sick. Like, I didn't know you could do that. Like, I didn't read the rule book.
Your heart to it.
Yeah, I was so fresh. Like for me, when I take someone to their first wrestling show, it's like, oh my God, you know nothing about this. Like, this is exciting for me. I was that for someone that day.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that I am that person for you.
Yes, you were my first on stage drag king.
Now, were you there was it for round 3 or round 4? Was it Christmas or Halloween?
I was there from round 1 up until maybe a show or 2 ago, and then I wasn't able to make it. Yeah.
Okay.
You kept getting not done dirty, but you just had the worst luck in both of your appearances.
Well, first off, I'm going to say if I'm going against like, the other performers that I'm going against, I have known them for years.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm like one of those, like for any PA for like our area, I am the grandfather, the OG grandfather being like, hi, how can I help you? What can I offer to you? I'm not going to gatekeep information. I'm going to give it to you as much as I possibly can. Unless you're going to sit there and be mean to me the entire time. And then I'm going to be like, you know what? I'm good. I'm going to remove myself from the situation. If you want help, I'll help you. If you don't, whatever. C'est la vie.
Yeah.
But, anybody that I was competing against, I'm just like, you know what? We're going to have a great time. I don't like being almost feeling like I'm going to be knocked off that stage and then thrown onto a mat. That's the only thing. I'm like, if you're going to push me closer, I'm going to start pushing you closer. And they did say, drag is not a contact sport. I will make it a contact sport.
Yeah, you definitely broke that rule that night. Because I remember the whole time, like, being back, Trixie going, no contact, like up through their teeth, and I was just like, they're definitely contacting.
Well, here's the thing, I did ask. I know specifically, I did ask Barry that night. I'm just like, are you okay with contact? And they were just like, yeah, I'm okay with contact. So when I looked at them, I go, and they're like, yeah, do whatever. I went boom during Dragon. Like we did plan that, but I didn't have they didn't plan it with me that they were gonna go through in between my legs and then knock me back. That was not part of it. I was not informed, which is fine. I made it through. My big sculpture piece survived. We're good. If it broke, I would have been a little mad. I would have been like, come on. But it is what it is. It's fine. However, that stage like kicks my ass every time I get on it. I'm just like, why? Why am I dying? This is hard of breathing.
Yeah. It's like running on a trampoline. You have to work more muscles to walk on that in that padded ring. Yeah.
It is. And I'm just like,
and that's actually extra padded than any other normal ring. A normal ring is probably that much padding. This is their design so wrestlers can last longer on their body. So they put a huge pad on, and they don't like that. Like it's almost like it's like getting tattooed with numbing cream. That's kind of what they describe their sanctuary ring. But it's also like if you've done 1,000 tattoos and you get that one numbing cream, you're like, you know what? I'm into it. I paid my dues. I'd rather fall on the big cushiony mat. It still sucks, but it's not as bad. Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, no, because I remember performing at the sanctuary before they actually had all that padding. It was just the first set of padding to it. We did a show way back when, and we had to I remember going up the day before to be like, okay, how is the actual area? I want to get a feel for this so I know what I'm getting into. It was more padded on the walk down. And that was before the mist was a problem. And the queens were just like, oh, I brought on my pointy heels. I'm like, yeah, good luck. You're breaking your shoe.
Yeah. It looked like gun hole shots in the stage because all the heels were poking through. Yeah.
Absolutely. It was. And I'm just like, and I knew a few of the queens broke their heels, and I'm just like, you should have came here the day before when everybody was able to actually take a look at the stage. I asked, it was like, hey, how can I trust fall? Do one of those. Yeah, that was an event in itself. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, love the cats. I have my little orange boys coming over, and he's knocking my monitor around. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know where mines are. They're somewhere around here. Chaos.
But yeah, no. So I knew what I was getting into, and then seeing it being even more padded, I was just like, oh, okay. So this is more of a workout. That's fine. I'll do that. That's good. I remember bringing it up a few times, being like, "Hey, drag and wrestling, can we make this a thing?"
That's what I said. I said, let's train.
Boom! What's
Yeah.
up?
Yeah.
What's good?
How did you develop the name and the look, and how has Oliver Twist gone from the start to where we are now?
So it's really funny because it's just like I could have changed my name multiple times, and I went with Oliver Twist because one, I am a big musical fanatic. So there is the musical Oliver Twist itself. Um, my actual name is Olivia, so the opposite would be Oliver. And I am a gender bender twist. I make people question a lot of things, especially with my flirty, charmy personality. That is one of the things that has definitely remained the same throughout my drag journey. I celebrated this is my 15th year this year doing drag. Um, it has definitely changed for the better. I expect, especially as a performer, to constantly evolve. My look is never going to stay the same for sideburns. My mustache and goatee is never going to, well, pinch is never going to stay the same. Um, my outfits have definitely evolved more over the years. Um, I'm trying to put more and more effort every time I can. Um, Again, I'm not going to sit there and like gatekeep type of like, any type of information when it comes to drag. Probably in the way beginning, I'm just like, I'm not going to share any of my information with anybody because no. But that Oliver has definitely grown throughout the years. What has always remained true is that I'm very flamboyant. I'm kind of like a peacock. I'm here, I'm strutting all my feathers. I'm here to have a good time. Um, Not for a long time, but a good time for most of it. But I mean, for myself, I've noticed that I've become more and more and more of that like lone wolf. I get along with everybody. I do what I need to do, and at the end of the day, I stay out of the drama.
Mhm. Is there a key element to the look that always stays relatively the same, so it stays like almost true to the original character, and then other pieces can change?
So still, I definitely try to keep and pronounce the butt chin that I
Mhm,
have. Um, and also the eyebrows. I try to, yeah, I mean, my eyebrows are naturally bushy itself,
mhm.
but at the same time, I like to make it a little bit more devilish, try to have a little bit more fun. And what are you doing? Come on. Sir, sir, go. Thank you. I try to have a little bit more fun with just like the natural look. The one thing that has definitely changed is adding more of eyeshadow and trying a little bit more of like those feminine elements to it.
Mhm.
Um, it's not such harsh lines. I have been trying to soften it up a bit. So we all progress.
Well, I appreciate showing love to the kings who can't grow middle parts of their mustache, so I appreciate that.
I mean, my PCOS allows me to grow a mustache that I do have to take care of in my under chin. The one thing, I mean, even like one thing that'll always remain true for me, especially when I am performing, if I'm doing anything when it cut like I don't have a chest plate, I use my real chest for
Uh-huh.
performing. So I tape everything back. That is the one thing I've always kept doing. I have always taped. It's just the method has changed drastically. Um, but I mean, I'm not overly toxic masculine anymore, like how it used to be for me, where like I feel like I was a little bit more disgusting. I've definitely tried to keep more of that like refinement and class and maybe a little bit more femboy energy
Mhm.
when it comes to it. A little bit more just like, hi, you know, give a little bit more of that than just being like, hey, baby girl, what's up? Like, I'm just like,
Yeah.
like,
So
let's not be toxic unless that's like a theme that I have to go with for a show.
Yeah.
Um,
When I first seen you, and even tonight, the look definitely has I pulls a lot out of it. You give me I get a lot of Marvel characters out of you. So I get a little Mephisto. I get like glam version like dark, but like when evil Doctor Strange, because you have like the goatee with the eye, like when he gets like dark version, and then just like if
Iron Man and Doctor Strange had a
yeah,
baby.
if Iron Man went like it did a drag look, 100%. There's a definite Tony Stark look in there as well. I love it.
Like I said, a superhero moment.
Yeah,
It's definitely it's allowed me to be more comfortable with myself. Like that's what I love about drag.
yeah.
Um, it has allowed me to be the person that I am today, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
Now
You
you were
know,
saying before your flirty personality and like what you bring to the table as a personality. Do you think that's what makes you stand out the most? How you said before, I make you question yourself sexuality by looking at me. I feel like once again, kind of tying it back into wrestling, like your objective inherently in the world of professional wrestling is to make the audience feel like you're really fighting and hurting each other. And I
Mhm.
feel like I could be wrong by thinking this, but like the idea of drag is to kind of make you question what you're looking at, like to the point where like, are you like, you know what I mean? Not like, are you into it, but like you're essentially trying to switch the mind of I'm presenting as something different and I still want to be sexy and appealing and like, am I wrong by saying that's
No,
inherently
you're
the
not
idea?
wrong by that. I mean,
Yeah.
my personality itself, especially with drag being that it has helped me a lot. I am a flirtatious individual, but I don't push boundaries on people because I respect that.
Yeah.
I respect individuals. It's the same thing even with drag. Consent is sexy.
Hmm.
We always make sure we ask for it because if somebody says no, I'm gonna walk away from you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fine. I'm not going to draw any attention to you because I don't wanna make you uncomfortable. Um, and, like, that's also, like, the showmanship of that,
Hmm.
the show person of that. Um, but even with, like, performing, like, yes, like, whether I'm doing drag or draglesque, so which is, burlesque, but drag-wise, I have done that at a few different shows and venues. You're making sure that everybody's okay and comfortable. Like, yes, I want you to question. I wanna pique your interest, so I'm going to elaborate more and do that. That's my job. You came here to see me. If you don't like what I'm offering you, then why did you come in the first place?
Hmm.
But I also at the end of the night, I hope you came.
Yeah.
I hope you come. Figuratively and, literally. I want you to have a good time. But, like, that's me telling my story. That's me putting it all out on the stage. Whether that story is actually powerful or sexy, again, depends on the range of the show. I'm here to put it out there for you. And if you
Yeah.
want to approach me, like that's the one thing that I love now is that people actually more will approach me now than they did then. And I didn't really change anything in my look in the sense of like just standing there and like smiling and taking pictures. I think people find it that it's intimidating to approach a drag king or just approach people in general, at the end of events, at the end of shows. So, like, it's nice that people start coming, up to me now being like, "Oh, hello, thank you," like, and talk, and I'm just like, I'm like, is my face angry? Am I looking a certain way? And, like, some people are like, "You look very intimidating." I'm like, "I'm not. I'm the biggest golden retriever there is. I'm a big puppy. Come up to me."
Yeah. I definitely
Oh,
could see that vibe too.
I think that, is it Bellagio
That
music?
that's Kai. Kai
Oh,
is our
hello
guest.
there, Kai. I think you should try it. I think everybody should try it, really, truly. Give it one go. Kinda like with, retail or, server industry. Do it for a year and tell me how you feel at the end of it.
Yeah, no, thank
Again,
you.
drag.
I
Oh,
did
yeah.
retail, kinda.
I did
I worked
retail.
at FYE for a year, and I only worked, like, 1 day a week or 2 days a month just so I can get the discount,
So, like,
so I can get all my pop culture shit.
which one did you work at and at what year point?
Um, 2000 or mid to late 2000s in Frackville Mall.
Okay, alright, so I was at the Valley West at the Wyoming Valley Mall.
Okay.
I worked at FYE too for, like, since 2010 to about 2015.
FYE was very kind to me when it came to Funko Pops, because when the shipment came in, if there was any good ones, they went into secret locations for 90% of the employees, and then when the discount came, a customer's name was used because we couldn't use the employee, because we had a whole system.
Yeah.
A bunch of movies are here, and no one claimed their pre-order codes to get the movie 7 days early. The greatest thing I ever accomplished at FYE is I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan, and the movie Dogma you cannot find on Blu-ray because it was only produced once, and then it was never produced again because it's been held up in the Weinstein stuff. So you can get it on DVD all the time, but to find it on Blu-ray, you got to pay like a couple $100. But if you work at FYE, the system price does not sell it at $300. It sells it at like $7, but you have to find a store that has it, and you have it shipped to you, and then you check it out and go home with it.
What's really sad though, like now that it's, I mean, like I too love my Funko Pops, but like I was there when it was like game systems were still sold there.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, that discount was so nice, especially if it was clearance.
Mm-hmm.
I built up my musical collection, especially my odd, weird, like fucked up musical like obsession. Built that up. Also, my anime collection. I lost it once, and then I had to rebuild that collection all over again. But yeah, no, I ended up making sure that I hit up the Philly one, like right off of. I know it was like around like Center City area, but I made sure to hit that up right when it was closing, and I'm just like, oh no, we're making sure that we get like bang for my buck, because like I'm buying the entire shelf of this shit.
I loved FYI. I still have a few pops. I have a few over here, and then my shelf behind me. But I sold essentially all of my pops to start my podcast. Like I went full Kevin Smith. I was like, I'm selling everything to chase my dream. I haven't made my Clerks yet, but we're getting there.
That is one thing that I'm trying, that I want to get into, and I think it's going to end up being like a slow and steady type of thing, is doing a podcast that's more so talking about like local art, like supporting more so like local artists, where to find them, support them, but also like safe spaces for people to go to, that's like, i.e. a coffee shop, bar, what have you, and also like finding local performers and be like, how can we support you? What can we do? Do you have merch that we can buy? You know, yada yada, like trying to interconnect that. And I'm just like, okay, I want to get this started. Just got to get it done.
If you need help, I'm here. Like, just so you don't have to buy a whole bunch of equipment that you don't think you need it forever. If you want to do it, like I can get you any style podcast. Do you want to travel? Do you want to be a podcast you take on the road anywhere you want? Do you want to be a Zoom podcast? Do you want a studio podcast? I've done them all. I've done them all.
Okay.
So I can get you set up.
Inquire help on that, definitely.
All right. So I was gonna say last actually I think the last drag question for now I think I have. Let's dive into a little bit outside of the world of drag. If maybe more interest, you said before you're into board games and anime and stuff like that. So what are you currently now watching, playing, consuming? What's some of your interests?
So I am a major Pokemon nerd. I am currently going through the second portion of the DLC for Pokemon Scarlet. I let another friend of mine who's a performer. See, again, friends of mine, always performers. I love the Mew. That's so cute. That is an adorable little crocheted.
That's all Mew. Handmade, crocheted. Witchcrafts by Lily made it. And then you can't really see it, but way back there, it's humongous. It's a huge.
Nice.
He's twice the size. He's a huge Gengar. Gengar and Mew are my two favorites. So
Gengar is one of my favorites. OG Ghost, one of my favorites. I absolutely love Ghost Pokemon. So currently, right now, that's one of my games that I'm playing. I love Legend of Zelda. I'm a big Animal Crossing person. I'm really, to be honest with you, Nintendo's probably one of my biggest companies that I absolutely love. Krogunk is my boy. We stand a feminist king. Yes. Absolutely. That would be really cute as like a form to do for drag. That is like, I know I have a couple ideas in my head to do some stuff like that. I know that Trixie has like her they have their Pikachu, and a couple other things. I think we're trying to like hint and be like, do Butterfree.
I
uh,
if it would help possibly a costume for you, I it's literally sitting in storage. I don't use it. It was more so a display item. I have an Ash Ketchum hat. I'll
yes,
hook you up. You can have it.
love it. But yes, Gorgunk, I do love. I do play the TCG for Pokemon. I am slowly getting back into Magic. I used to play way back in high school, then I dropped off the earth, and now my girlfriend does play competitively. Well, she's
Wow.
competitive. She hasn't she used to play quite a bit and all the time, and now we're just getting back into all of that. She just got all excited. I was just asked to move in. So, she just found one of her crazy expensive decks and she's like, "Yay, I found this. I can play." And I'm like, "Okay, great. I'm going to have, my ass handed to me left and right." Love that. Love that. Yay. um what else? What else do I play? Board game wise, I'm a big Seven Wonders nerd.
Which
It
one's that?
So Seven Wonders, basically you are building resources. It's all about the Seven Wonders. You get to be randomly given a different seven wonder of the world, and you have to build up your little empire and you have to complete your wonder. So it'll give you different tasks to do. Like, oh, I need so many stone, I need so many brick, I need so many papyrus, like that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Fun little game. But then they added so many different expansions that make it even better, like Armada. Oh, not only do I have militia in the first, game, now we're gonna add Armada, which is now naval fleets coming at you and hitting you every which way but loose. And I'm like, yay.
This sounds like Civilization.
Similar to Civilization, I every time I look at the box for Civilization, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna love this. And I look at it, I go, I don't like this.
Yeah, it's
I'm
more
like,
based on war and not city building. I like the city building aspect.
I like the city building. So like if I play Seven Wonders, I play like the tiny two-player rendition of it. They do have it. It's called Duel. I love it. It's great. It's a really quick game. Because if you play the base game, you need to have 3 people. And so if you only have one other person with you and it's only the 2 of you, then you are both kind of playing as the third person, and that's not fun.
Yeah.
Um, have you heard of a board game called Scythe?
I have not, no. So I've never really got into tabletop games for 2 reasons. One, I'm not smart enough to figure them out, and 2, I've never had nerdy enough friends who are also smart enough to figure it out. So
Okay.
we came across all these, like, I didn't grow up playing D&D or tabletop games. I grew up like toxic dude, bro, let's go play basketball, football. Like that was like, so I didn't have cool nerdy friends to dive me. I didn't get like my nerdiness was like pro wrestling was nerdy and video games. Like that was the extent, and comic books. That was like the extent of my nerd event. And even that, you buried that deep. You're like, you want to watch? Like, no, basketball, bro. Let's go. You know what I mean? So I never
Love a good
learned.
comic book. Love a good
Yeah.
comic book.
The closest I got to anything where I definitely didn't play it right and I definitely pissed off everybody else in the room, but I had a blast, is we played this game that was kind of like Cthulhu based, but you had to like collect a bunch of keys. It's like something manor,
Okay, Madness Manor?
something like that. Yeah.
Something similar? Okay, alright. There's a couple different, I feel like there's a couple different variations of that game. I know what you're talking about, and I'm
Hmm.
like, is it Madness Manor? I know that there's one that is called Madness Manor, but the Cthulhu-based games are interesting. I love Betrayal, House on the Hill.
Okay.
That one is Cthulhu based. So like your Madness, oh, Mystery Manor. Okay.
Yeah, that
Uh,
might be it.
there is so Betrayal. They have a couple different editions that are out. Just because they change the rules and they tweak some things. So you have 2 different versions of, like, I should say skin wise.
Hmm.
I know that you yeah. So skin wise for Betrayal, you have your base Betrayal, and then you have Baldur's Gate Betrayal. Baldur's Gate allows you to have, it's D&D-esque, so you get to have powers that help you. In Betrayal, you're a human going crazy.
Mhm.
and you're trying to escape this hellhole. And then you keep getting hit with more monsters, and you're like, "Oh, you just activated this card." And I'm like, "No, shit, Sherlock.
Yeah.
Gimme. What did I get?" You're just like, "Oh, what's gonna happen now? Oh, I'm gonna get a little bit more crazy. Cool. My little token's gonna go up again. Yay, love that." But, like, you're working on health counter.
Yeah.
Like, you're working on, like, your health and, like, your madness. But it's really cool because, like, the pieces are, like, this really interesting, like, little octagon shape, and you're trying to move your character, but you're tile laying. You don't know what you're going to get for the next tile that you have to put on this house. So, like, again, this house is going into one big giant maze, and you're like, I need to get out of here fast. You're like, I need to get whatever object I need to get, and I need to get out of this place.
Yeah. That's
But
kind of how this game was set up too. You had to get the objects and find your way around.
Mm.
But my character, I picked like this homeless dude who had a dog.
Okay.
And so they're like, hey, listen, when the best way to play this is you have to embrace the character. I didn't know how to do that. I was like, all right, and I got it. Like I was like, once again, I thought pro wrestling. I was like, I got this. I'm just gonna play a pro wrestler. But my character, he's homeless. I don't care if the world ends. I'm homeless. Like the only but the one of the main objectives to the game was collecting keys. And there
Ooh,
was
this
a
is
in-game currency. So my strategy was to get all the keys because here's the way my brain worked: get all the keys and then sell them to the other players so then they can form the keys together to win the game. But if they save the world, I'll be rich and the world will be good. But even if we all die, I tried. Like I was setting it was a do or die thing for my character. So I
Yeah.
had no objective to help them save the world, except my objective was to get the keys to then make them buy them off me, which is not even an element of the game.
You're like, I'm gonna play y'all.
Yeah. And then the entire time they were rooting for me to die. So like they were throwing monsters my way. And one of the perks of this character was if you sacrifice your dog, you get your health back, and then you move away like it's like a fast retreat, and you move like halfway away across the board. Dog was gone. They're like, you have no heart. I'm like, I'm gonna like my guy
Get right
does not
away.
care. Yeah, yeah. There's more strays. I'll pick up a new bud. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, that hurt my little heart.
I'm
Like,
a dog lover. But hey, when you're getting chased by monsters, you gotta do what you gotta
Yeah.
do. But
Yeah,
yeah,
you're like,
they
it's
hated playing with me, but I had
me.
a blast.
It's me or nobody else. One game, and I know this is going to be super controversial, especially for people who are board game people. I hate Catan so much.
Which one?
Settlers of just Catan.
Okay,
Catan.
I've never heard of that one.
Do not like it. It again is a resource building game. You're making
Yeah.
villages, you're making roads, and then you have that one bastard that is a sheep hoarder or a rock hoarder, and I'm like, y'all could go fuck yourselves. I'm like, I'm done with this game. I hate this game. Why?
Did you ever play Secret Hitler?
You know what? Of course I have.
That game is so much fun.
I love deception games because it's bad that I'm gonna say like I'm really good at lying, but
Hell
like
yeah, you have to be good at lying. You gotta sell it. You gotta
you're
sell
like,
it.
I gotta sell this. Like, there's no way. So we used to a group of us in college used to play a game called Werewolf. It's the same thing as Vampire, as Mafia. It's the same skin. So Secret Hitler is, again, the same skin of the game. They
Yeah.
just redo it all the time. So you don't know what it's going to, like, you don't know, like, it could be done multiple ways, but, like, you're trying, at the end of the day, you're trying to find out who is the werewolf, Hitler, the vampire, the mafia, who was killing these people. So we would play up in Clark Summit, up at their like little park that they have like up in Abington Heights, and we would have like a group of like 15 of us, and we're all just like, all right, we're writing on these index cards before they even made the card game like an actual physical like game of it. We're writing out all the roles for everybody. And I just loved it. I'm like, oh, look I'm the Joker. I want to die. If I'm the Jester, I want to die.
Yeah.
Because guess what? At the end of the day, if you kill me and you think and believe that I'm the werewolf and I die and I'm a Jester, I win the game anyways.
Mhm.
Ooh.
I deceived you. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna
Win or
play it up
lose, I'm
right
trying
now.
to deceive.
So,
Is there in the world or any media consuming of like drag performers playing D&D or board games that's out there that you can watch? Because I feel like if the drag performer stayed in character then also had to play other characters within tabletop games would be the most fun thing to watch of all time.
You know what? I have not seen anything. However, would I find that absolutely hysterical? Yes. Now, for me, when it comes to like watching drag shows, I'm very much on the Dragula side, so I'm very much with you.
Yes.
Um, I would watch blips and episodes here and there for RuPaul.
I
For
think I would
me,
hate RuPaul after seeing Dragula. I think there's zero chance I would like RuPaul's Drag Race.
it is also like hard because it's like
It's the icon.
it is also the icon. I do love and appreciate a lot of the queens that come out of it.
Yeah.
I
would appreciate it, but I'd be bored because I was exposed to exactly what my niche is right off the
Yes.
bat. Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's the thing. Like with RuPaul's Drag Race, like just even like recently, it's interesting because it's like everybody knows somebody in the community. Like there's so many of us, but also at the same time, we're such a small community.
Mm-hmm.
We're such a small faction.
It's like pro wrestling. I know people who are on TV. Yeah.
And so like this past year, like several of us had like one of the queens that was on there. We thought she was gonna get it. But we all knew her. We're just like, I'm like, okay, like, oh my god, like, look at that look. Like, we all knew who was helping her out, and it's Saphira Crystal, but who was helping her out with her costumes, who was helping her out, like, building all these constructions. And like, it's interesting because like, not only was it other drag queens themselves, like in that group of people, because that's all down in that's all like the Philly crew. You have Henlo Bullfrog, who is one of the bigger kings that's down there, helping Saphira Crystal, who is for RuPaul's Drag Race. You have, in that same circle of people, you have Onyx on Dix, who was just in, Dragula for season, this past season. She was on that one. Like we're all intermingled, which is absolutely adorable and crazy at the same time, and I love it.
Is there a monster community around us, or is it like you have to go to a city for it?
You don't have to necessarily go to a city for it. It is. It's getting them all together to do something. I know I myself, I have I'm working on a little bit of a project where I'm trying to get more of alternative drag performers to host shows, whether it is a king alternative drag or, a little intermingled of a little bit of everybody. That is what I'm working on.
Okay, I'm in. If you put together a monster or a horror show, dude, that's from season 1. I always like I'm hooked, and then they did the final where they did like the punk filth, like the filth segment, and what I can't even say on.
I love it.
I can't even say what happened on this filth thing on this podcast. Just go watch season 1 of Dragula. From that moment on, I was like, I'm in. They are fucking gangster. Like what? Like I thought it was the coolest shit I've ever seen in my. It was disgusting, but it was fucking crazy.
Well, that is one thing that in my 5-year plan, I hope to actually try out for Dragula myself. As long as they keep it going and keep it running. I love that Dragula has definitely went from like this super B-rated, even though it's still kind of like B-rated in the sense of like campiness to it, that they have still kept that. It's the production quality has definitely gone up way more, which I do love too. But
if you're watching this and you are a horror movie fan or a drag fan, it's just Shudder's like $7 a month. Just go and I think you get it for free if you have Amazon Prime. Just go watch it. Like get all those numbers up. Yeah.
You do like so you can also do AMC, and it offers it on AMC, and AMC also has other wonderful collections of horror shows too.
Okay.
That is part of that. So, and I want to say it's about the same. I got mine on Black Friday, so I paid like $80 for like a whole year, which really wasn't bad.
That's the move. That's the move.
Yeah, that's the only time I'm ever doing a subscription. I'm like, Black Friday.
So how you said before, you're it very much into the nerd culture first, and then everything else kind of fell in. Were you always someone who was into like the cosplay scene even before you were into drag?
Yes,
And
I
now
was.
I feel like being a cosplayer and then getting into drag is like a cheat code. I feel like you're a little because you have to build
Input
everything. Like,
this.
yeah, yeah,
AB, up,
yeah,
down,
yeah.
left, right, select, start. It is the cheat code in a way because you can be anybody that you want to be. You know, you can create that caveat for yourself. Um, like I know when you met me for Sanctuary, you saw my big like shoulder pads, and I'm just like, I really want to make a Mad Max inspired type style outfit. And this is like kind of like that, like glue into it. Like those are repurposed football shoulder pads. You wouldn't know that underneath unless you saw the construction underneath of it. But
Mm-hmm.
like cosplay has always been a big thing. Unfortunately, I was in a um really toxic and manipulative abusive relationship that pulled me away from the cosplaying and drag for like a little while, more like 3 years.
Mm.
Um I told other people, I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna stop drag because I'm doing grad school." I was doing grad school. I lied though on why I stopped. I allowed somebody who I thought loved me get in the way of everything that I love dearly. So I stopped going to conventions. I stopped doing like watching anime. I stopped doing drag. I shut out a whole crew of people out of my entire life for this one person. And she made me believe that, everything was right in the world and it wasn't. Um I broke that off at the end of January 2020, right before the world shut down. That was almost 7 years.
Wow.
So I am slowly getting back into playing video games, watching anime. D- my drag career has expanded and has been blossoming even more exponential, blah, 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 even more so, which I love, and I can't express to you how much I'm very grateful for everything in my life. Um, But, like, I am a big Sailor Moon fan. Like, if you wanna know about, like, for animes, love Sailor Moon, love Soul Eater. Helsing was a big part of that in my life. I used to read everybody says manga, however anybody wants to pronounce it. Like, I used to read that because I struggled reading in, elementary, middle school, up until I didn't start reading books until high school. And, like, I couldn't really focus, but that has allowed me to refocus and calculate and realize, like, yeah, I am, a little on the neurospicy, still figuring it outside, nothing diagnosed, but definitely have stuff going on. Everybody just has, their own, like, little superpower with it.
Mm-hmm.
But, I've always been involved in art. Like, my dad used to draw, my mom used to paint. My dad was very much into Heavy Metal Magazine, and he'd be like, "Hey," he exposed me to so many great artists. Now, granted, was I a kid at the time that he was exposing me to all these great artists? Yes. Was it probably not the best move? Probably not. But I was in middle school and I was more mature for my age.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I was never restricted at any point in
yeah,
my
I was
life
not
of what I couldn't
restricted.
watch. Yeah, I was able to watch like when I grew up with someone like, oh, I couldn't watch anything. Like I had to live my life by the PG scale.
Yeah,
Oh, this
no.
is TV. I never experienced. I was 11 watching rated R horror movies. Like yeah, like I was like, all right, you know what I mean.
Like
Here's your see you later, baby bird. You know what I mean?
like, my dad was showing like I got to see like the original Heavy Metal movie. I absolutely love it. I used to watch
Yeah.
that middle school on up. So like the age of 11 on up, I'm like, I love this movie. I didn't find it weird watching it with him because he's just like, "No, I want you to understand who these artists are and
Mm-hmm.
what difference they made when it came to cinematic and, like, animation at that time." Um, like, that was always something I absolutely loved. was getting involved in that. And he's like, hey, if you're going to get into like heavy metal magazines, like you want to look at the 70s and the 80s. Those are your core ones that you want to look at. He's like, here's some creepy, here's some eerie magazines. He's just like, here you go. Like he would like info brain dump all the art for me, to the point where he's like, hey, here's all the schematics and like how they actually drew all the vehicles for Star Wars. Or like I have a couple of like his different like art books that he has and like comics and all that, where one is just like plain art. So all the military plane art and like what they would actually like, do up on the planes and how they would actually like cut them out so that they would keep the art available. Like each plane had their own like signature pinup that they put on there. You had the Daisy Dukes. You had
Mhm.
like, it was just it was adorable. And I'm like, I love all of this and I cherish all of it. Um, I'm trying to think what else. He really got me into Frank Frazetta. And that was one that did a lot of the art for Lord of the Rings.
Mhm.
Um, and it's just like kind of like blossomed from there, but it's such a dark and beautiful style. It is overly masculine when you're like looking at all like, how he draws certain figures, but the way he would just, the softness that he would give it. That like when you like just like look at his paintings and like how he would convey that. It's harsh, but it's also soft at the same time. And I'm like, I like that. That's me. I'm
Mhm.
harsh yet I'm soft at the same time. You know?
Well, I'm very glad that you refound yourself, because I truly think you're a fantastic performer, and what you do is very, very talented. Like, you definitely stood out. Like I was saying earlier in the episode, to kind of tie it back, it's like I feel like you had the worst luck of every bracket you were in, because every person that
Yeah.
you went up against early end up winning the show. But like that, like it was almost like like a when two teams meet up in the bracket that are just like powerhouse teams, and you're like, the winner comes out of this game, like, you know what I mean? And that's both shows I was at with you. I kept saying to everyone, like, the winner comes out of this round. Like, no disrespect to anybody else, but this is the champion is determined here. And it usually ended up and it always worked out that way. Like, you were almost like you were always the one that, like, you challenged the person to uplift themselves the best in their performance, to then, like, just after they were able to win that round, they were able to go the rest of the way because you brought them to a different level.
Well, that's like the biggest thing I try to do with drag. So we have a monthly competition at Heat where technically it is meant to be for anybody that is interested in getting started into drag. It is supposed to be technically for newcomers.
Interesting.
Um, but the thing is that some of us who are seasoned professionals, we will also do it. The only reason I even go and try to compete, I don't care about the money I win at the end of the day. I care about that if I push you to your absolute furthest that you can go. I want to see you be better than you were last time. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I just want to see you push it because it's like, okay, we used to have these competitions also at Heat where they were called fresh meat. People would perform. And well, the drag performers, they would perform, like especially because they were newer, and those who were seasoned, we would judge and we would give you feedback. And I feel that we need that to come back and humble some people to be like, hey, whoa, I see what you're doing. I like what you're doing. I'm going to give you constructive but helpful criticism. I'm not going to sit here and attack your drag because your drag is you and everybody's drag is valid, but I want to see this and this, like maybe we can change or maybe we can help you further this.
Mhm.
um you know I know that like like if I'm going to perform at Heat, I know to do X, Y, and Z for songs, because that's that type of crowd. But if I were to do something a little bit more experimental and alternative, no, I know where I can do that at certain venues and not.
Yeah.
Um, like you're kind of reading the room type of situation. But even with like with dragiators, like I do it to push the envelope. I want to see you be better. I want to push you. But if
Mhm.
you're going to constantly give me the same thing every single time, I'm like, what are you doing? You were doing really good and then you decided to let it flub. What's going on?
Yeah.
Like I tell anybody that comes in, they're like, well, why are you here? And I'm like, I'm here to push you. But I'm
Mhm.
also here in case anybody needs help with their makeup or anything like that. Come here.
I think that's super important to have in the community. You want those people to be around to have that mentality, but also come from a loving place. Because like, and when I say this, I don't mean any disrespect or any shade to the performer, but like there was a performer during the show that I thought they were good and I thought they had really good charisma, but I felt like they were missing a piece. Like there was something to them or what they were portraying or what they were putting out there that wasn't attaching itself to me. And they went up against you in the competition and you pulled the best performance I still think that they've had the entire time out of them. And then I believe they went on to win another show, but when they came back and performed again at a different show, they were a completely different performer. And I feel like that came from that interaction with you. Like I felt like you
Well, I
pulled that
also
out of them.
talked to them about that. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's, I have no chance with you here. And I'm like, no, no, you do. You need to step it up a notch. I go,
Yeah.
you do have a chance. So let me see you bring it. Otherwise, I'm gonna hand you your ass, and
Hmm.
that's fine. But if you wanna be upset about it, because like, there was, the 3rd round, there was a performer, you know, absolutely love them. They got upset. Now, a lot of people, they were all talking about what songs they didn't wanna do and what they did wanna do.
Hmm.
And we all said like, "Hey, we don't wanna do Nightmare Before Christmas. We don't wanna do,
Ooh,
that."
yeah, that was a rough one.
I'm like, "That's a really rough one to do as one person." Because you have all these 3 different components and characters to voice. And when everybody said, "Hey, we don't wanna do this, we don't wanna do this," that person decided to s and we all agreed, "We're not doing this song, we're not gonna pick it." That person decided to agree and go, "You know what? I wanna do that number." And I went, "Are you kidding me?" I'm like, "You did that on purpose, you little." I'm just like, I'm like, "You gotta be shitting me on here." I'm like, "You know
Yeah.
what? I'm not opening my mouth." But then they were upset that they didn't win.
Yeah.
And so the next time I pulled them aside and I'm just like, "I see that you're upset." I go, "But that's poor on you to be upset at any one of us for performing our best for a song that you chose to pick when nobody wanted to do that number.
Hmm.
And you can only be mad at yourself. You can't be mad at anybody else if we outperform you. It is the audience. It's not your performance itself, like in how you do your drag, but it is the audience pick. And like, you can't throw a hissy fit because that's not proper, like, performer etiquette. You can't do that. You're gonna make everybody else feel uncomfortable too.
Oh, people who
And
were at the show who like me, who know nothing about drag, I was like, "Oh, that emotion's real." Like there's something happening over there.
yeah,
Like,
and
yeah.
you can't get upset about it. I'm like, "I'm excited that I got to perform against you." But it didn't hurt my feelings that you got all bent out of shape, and you're allowed to have your feelings. Don't get me
Mhm.
wrong. I go, was there something else that was going on that just, alluded to all of this and like, you getting upset and crying and, they ended up saying like, yeah, like I'm kind of just going through a lot and I really just wanted to win. And I'm like, I'm sorry that you are going through a lot. I'm just like, but like talk to us.
Mhm.
Don't behave in a way where you shut us out because we don't have to talk. But, like, we want to see everybody succeed,
Yeah.
and, like, if you're going to be that way, go ahead, nobody's gonna talk to you. Like,
I think
I'm
that's
here
a
to, like,
huge
build
oh,
everybody
sorry.
up.
Yeah. Sorry, there's a little bit of delay. The timing, I tried to jump in with the timing, but it was a way off. So I'm not trying to make cut on you. So
No,
people
you're fine.
listening at home, they're like, you always, I'm like, there's a delay in the StreamYard sometimes. But anyway, I think for me, what I enjoyed the most about drag and learning it from you, like, because I realized that what I seen as drag was different than what I would normally consume at most drag shows. Like the way it was done at the Sanctuary with Trixie show was like more of a like a one-on-one competition and more the other drags more like stage presence. I mean, like I was told it's different, you know what I mean? But I like the competition aspect, and I think what made the show good is once again relating it to pro wrestling, where sometimes there is real upsetness or beef or problems with two performers, but they're going to go into a situation where they're going to put on a physical performance, and sometimes they really don't like each other, and that's a recipe for a real problem. but
Yeah.
there's that element to the art form of what you're doing that even if you are in a competition and there's hate and there's heat and there's cattiness, that there's still the overall love for what you're performing under, and it's those emotions pull out better performances somehow. But then you go back to the back, and sometimes it's almost like fighting, like two dudes fighting, and like after they have a beer, you know what I mean? It's like that same energy of like you battle, and then you realize like either the cattiness gets worse, or you become better friends after because you've realized where you both stand.
Yeah. No,
And I
and
think that's
it's
cool
very
about drag is like the emotion, passion to it, but the artistry as well.
exactly. It is
Yeah,
very the same, and I love
yeah.
that.
That's so awesome. Last question here, and then I'll throw it to the chat. If anyone has any questions, please let's get them in and have some fun here. But my last question for you is: if someone were to be wants to get into, I know you kind of touched on this locally, if you're in the Pennsylvania area, with heat, which we'll get more information on as well for people. But if they were going to get into the art of drag, or even more so, drag kings, how would you recommend, or what's some early advice you would give to performers that want to be in this form?
Definitely research, research, research. Sorry, I'm like trying to control my lisp. If I'm talking very passionately, it will slip.
I
So
love
I
it.
try to enunciate as much as I possibly can.
One of my favorite wrestlers of all time had a lisp. You can go all day long. I don't.
Always research, like figure out what you want to do for drag. Figure out who is your persona. Um, what is your character? What type of drag performer do you want to be? Do you want to be a clown? Do you want to be, a drag clown? Do you want to be super campy? Do you want to do and be a mime in a sense? Are you going for trailer trash? Are you like what is your look going to be? Or do you not want to have a look and you want to be a little enigma muppet? You'll be anything. Really, truly, at the end of the day, you can be anything that you want to be. But you also have to speak what's in your heart and in your gut. Yeah, I just want to be gender chaos. Yes. um, but research, look at different makeup ideas. Look at different performers that have been following or follow those performers and really understand and get a sense for who that character is and what that character is for them. You know, we always use references to help what we are, you know, wanting to develop. So, just like sit there, look at different artists. Some that I can definitely suggest. You can look at Darren to Shine. You can look at Buck Delicious. Actually, two of those are actually my friends. One's out of Rhode Island. They perform up in Massachusetts. The other one is out in Idaho.
Buck
There's
Delicious, great name.
Buck
Great
Delicious.
name. Great name.
We all kind of look the same too, which I absolutely do love. So we might feud. It's on purpose. We
Yeah.
do it on purpose. Because we all are in the inner circle and we all understand what's going on. I again love that stuff. You have but look, like there's Throb Zombie. There is, you have Rusty Hammer. You have Jarvis Hammer, which is actually Rusty's kid. Love that. They were on the latest season for Dragula. Same thing with Rob Zombie. Like, what is your character going to be? You can look at Landon Cider. Like you can make is your drag going to have a statement? Like, do you want to have a statement piece for everything? Do you want to be known for this or for that? Like, Silver Fox is another one. Exactly. Go to learning how to do makeup. So follow and look at some people and look at how they do their step by step. Everybody is different.
Mhm.
You're not going to be perfect your first time either. And I think people get in their heads a lot and they're just like, oh, but I practiced my makeup so many times. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. Oh, I've practiced my routine so many times in my living room. I go, you have to wait until you get on the stage.
You have to
And
read the crowd and play into the crowd.
yeah, and some people, they blink. I blink, I still get nervous, and that's okay. Sometimes I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do this, 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 and this," and then I get out there, I'm like,
Yeah.
That roadblock just went, oop, nope, that's not happening. Okay, fine.
Yeah, wrestling, you could be one of the most athletic, giftedly talented people when it comes to stringing your moves together and being the best striker and making everything look amazing. But if you have zero charisma and don't know how to play to the crowd, it's almost like you could be the best dancer and performer, but if you don't know how to perform to the audience, you could be a shit dancer, a shit performer, but your charisma is so good that the crowd eats you up like that. You could be that, like, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
part of the it's part of the job. Yeah.
you also have to learn how to adapt. If something doesn't go the way you want it to go, you gotta really think on your feet. You have to be very quick. So you really definitely have to learn to adapt, especially if it's your first couple performances. You're going to forget things. And then you're going to be hard up on yourself, and you shouldn't be. Because guess what? At the end of the day, you did that. You went out there, you put everything together, you got your look down, everything was great. You went out on that stage and you performed. And guess what? Anybody else that was in that audience that came to see you, they could say boo or whatever to you. They could never do what you're doing. It's the same thing with
Mhm.
wrestling. I don't see the general public going out there to audition. They can never do what you're doing. Certainly, can they put their mind to test and actually do it? Yeah, absolutely. But are they going to? Chances are no.
Yeah. Now,
You know,
how
it
does
takes a
someone get
process to
into
it.
the scene? Do you have to know someone to get in? Like, do you have to find like is there like a school or how I heard a lot of the terminology and from a lot of people is like drag mom or drag dad, like that. So
So you can have drag moms and drag dads. Now, granted, I said I did have a drag mom, but it was a pseudo drag mom. I didn't learn anything. I
mhm,
I did everything myself. And that's fine. Um, People do have families. There are groups that do have families, and you are supposed to learn from them. You're supposed to have that guidance. Um, in a way, I say that I'm the parent of many. I'm more like the fathers that's not really there. No, I can't really say that. You can come and collect child support from me. No, it's more so that like if somebody wants help, ask me the questions. I'm going to help you. Um, I mean, I myself, I did have a drag kid and it didn't go well, and that's fine. Unfortunately, there was no really resolution. It was more like a just immediately cut ties with no conversation, and that's fine. Um, does it make me upset? Partially, yes, it does. It did I deal with it for a long time? Yeah, I did. Um, do I still think that they're a wonder performer? Absolutely. Do I appreciate being treated the way I was treated? No.
mhm.
At the end of the day, no. Um, a drag parent is not to be a promoter for you. Um, we're not supposed to sit there and make your posters for you or promote you for other shows. Like, yes, you should be doing the work because we ourselves have done the work. To get involved into the drag scene itself, show up in drag shows, you know, so we can see your look if you really are interested.
That's such an interesting aspect. I never
You
thought of
know,
that. That's sick.
if you're a newer performer, I mean, like me myself, if I'm gonna go to a drag show and like try to get involved, I don't necessarily need to get in drag. And sometimes I forget that, especially when I'm offering new advice to people that want to get into drag. Just because I say, I'm like, hey, double check and make sure that, people who are performing, like, you could reach out to them and be like, hey, is it okay if I show up and drag? Like, I really want to meet you. You could definitely do that. Some performers are okay with that. Some performers are not okay with that, I feel.
Mhm.
I know when it's like bigger ones, I feel like they don't want to always see it. But I mean, again, it's case by case difference.
That kinda
Like,
happened at Trixie's show. A performer showed up in drag or I guess their look and their drag I think they might be similar, maybe they just showed up to the show that way, and then they performed, like, 2 shows later. Like, they showed up, they made the connection, and they performed. I think they won the round they were in too. I'm pretty sure. I think they won the show they were on. I think.
Probably.
Wait, didn't you? I think you had the final. Was it you and
I
when they did like the
so I
bridal?
won the 4th one.
Yeah.
I came 2nd. I was runner up in the 3rd
Who did
challenge
you
for
go against in the third?
I went up to against Tequila
Tequila.
Divine.
Tequila's the one that showed up. Tequila showed up in the crowd and then performed like 2 shows later. I still think
Oh,
that was probably
nope,
the coolest
it was Nikki.
performance.
So it was Rosa de la Cruz. You would be correct because she won the 2nd round.
Yeah. I thought it was Tequila that showed up and did that.
They're
But
actually
the
part of
perform
the same family, which is funny. So they
yeah,
are
I
all
think the
part of the same
performance I'm talking about though is you and Nikki's performance with
Mine and Tequila's performance, yeah.
is that what it was, the white dress?
She had the white dress. I looked like a
Yeah.
groom, she looked like a bride.
It was awesome. It was so sick.
It was my favorite like, I look back at that, I'm like, "We've never duetted before," and
Yeah,
it
it
was
was really,
perfect.
really good. It looked really good. That was like in the wrestling term, we'd say that I was calling it in the ring, where you literally just like we're gonna get out there and do it. Like it's just gonna go off instinct, and sometimes they're the best performances. Um,
Absolutely. But people to get involved. You were saying places to get
yes.
involved, all that type of stuff. You can, like I said, going I popped. You can look at Heat. So Heat NEPA, it is a bar down in Wilkes-Barre. Um, they do the first Saturday of every month. They do a Dragiators. You have to sign up online, provide your music, all that information. Um,
Now, is
and
that
they
still open for the general public to come in and watch?
that is open for the general public. Anybody can
First
come in.
Saturday.
Yeah, well, that is open for it's 21 and up. But
Yeah, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
anybody who is Heat going to be open for Pride this year? It should be.
That was my. We didn't go to Heat. We went to the mine shaft. I want to say it was called. I've never.
Fine.
Last year was my first. Yeah, the mines. Last year was the first year I ever went to a Pride event. I had a blast. It was awesome.
So what's funny is that I was supposed to actually go and see some of my friends at the mines actually after Pride, but I was in Lebanon performing because I was crowned out that way as their trailer trash grand diva. Um,
Nice.
I still have the title. They haven't made me give it up yet. I don't think they'll ever find any. I don't think they'll ever do another contest, which is fine. All of my titles that I have technically
Undefeated.
fell through. I still have them.
Yeah.
Because nobody came after me. They haven't been open the last 2 years. To be honest with you, I don't know if they're going to open or not. I know that even last year they did the mines. Um, Now are you saying, like, having Heat open during Pride, like, when everything is going on, like,
Well,
during the day?
we walked by Heat to go like because they like to experience it, and it was closed, so we all went to the mines instead.
Okay, yeah, they might have just done it for I know that they were doing a little bit of construction inside, but I don't know why it wasn't open the year before. I think it might be because of capacity factor.
Yeah, I think the mines held more, right?
Everybody wants to be there at Heat. That place might not hold capacity. I think last year they had a drag show the night before. They
Yeah.
usually do a drag show the night before. Um, they should be open technically, but yeah, during the day they're going to. Hi, apple bottom jeans.
That's ignore that commenter.
That's okay.
They're interesting. Yeah.
But yeah, no,
Maddie, behave. Yeah.
people can definitely get involved with Heat. It's the first Saturday of every month. They do put out a theme, so you should be hitting the theme. Outfit and song, hit the theme. Now I know with Sanctuary they're supposed to be having one in May. I don't know when it is. It's supposed to technically open up another casting call for being a
Yeah, I think
house
they're trying
cat
to do the last Friday. The
for the
last
last
Fridays of
Friday.
every month. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's
So
how
then
they're doing it now.
So if I know for they already gave me information about June because it's gonna have the 4 competitors. We are gonna be going head to head in June. So at Sanctuary. But they will be looking for, they just haven't put it out yet. Um Again, show up to shows. Go out and support local, because here's the thing, in order to, like, I know that we have big names in either the monster community and or, the queen community, just drag community and itself. We have a lot of big names, but in order to be that big name, we started somewhere.
Yeah.
Local stages, everything. Um, you can look down at, I know that the Painted Mug down in Philly, they do open casting calls. There are a couple different King pages out there that were always saying, hey, please fill out a form. We'll, look into you. Not everybody gets picked. That's totally fine. I know Xander Valentine. Xander was doing Kings and Things for shows and is always looking for talent, but like, come out to Prides, dress in your drag, show us what you got. We won't know unless we actually see proof. That's the thing. Like, we need to see like how you are as a performer, and like, we can offer you, hey, we got a tip spot, or hey, would you like to try this? I always say try to do heat and get your feet wet. That way, because like, you're not going for like a big competition to put yourself on the stage, and like pageants, you're not going to be like, somebody who's first starting out and put yourself in a pageant, because like, you're going to put yourself in a position where you're not going to be comfortable.
Would that be like almost like the open mic night for drag?
So
The
heat
heat?
would be, yeah, drag eaters
Yeah.
would be like the open mic night.
I think
Absolutely.
that's
A
super
pageant,
smart to do stuff like that, like in any form of art. Like you should have those like come one, come all nights. Like
yes. And like pageants is more like you're performing at Carnegie Hall. Like, you don't want to go right and skip right up to Carnegie Hall, because you're gonna stumble, you're gonna fumble, and like, we'll be there to try to pick you up, because we're gonna be like, hey, whoa, you got a lot of like, cojones for doing that. But like, come here, like, you instead of walking, you just ran.
yeah,
You just
yeah,
ran.
you're
We need
playing
you to
to a
walk.
big crowd.
Yes.
Yeah.
We don't want to see anybody be embarrassed. We want to hold, I mean, at least it's for me, I want to hold your hand and be like, hey, let's go. Come on. We got
So
this.
any last questions? Get them in the chat for everybody. Where can people find, support you? Upcoming shows are ways they can reach out to you if need be.
Ooh. So for Instagram, I am on there. My page is Oliver_twist_drag. I am on TikTok. I'm not gonna lie, I am a thirst trap, but I will show my drag on TikTok. It is at Food Daddy 11. Um, I was gonna say, I know I showed a few recent ones on there for drag. I always forget to take like before stuff, like videos and contents, and then I'm already in my face, and I'm like, what is this,
That's
Olivia?
my goal. That's my goal for 2024, 2025. I want to enter the thirst trap ABJ era. Like I need I need to start getting there.
Well, see, that's, what's really funny is that like, I got into like, well, the thing is that I got into it was out of pure spite. Literally out of pure spite. I only posted a video out of pure spite, and then it took off, and I went, no,
Yep.
no. I was
You've built
told,
a you built up confidence. So I'm never giving back.
well, it's funny. It's with my, it was, the spite was towards my current girlfriend. She's just like, why can't you can post videos of you dancing as Oliver, but why can't you do it as Olivia? And I went, bet. Bet. And so I did, and I went, "Oh no." And this was before her and I were together. We were just like talking, and then it took off, and I went, "Oh no, 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 this is not where I wanted to be."
Yeah.
And then people just like watching me cook and eat. Never thought that in a million years. My page does promote drag, but it also promotes art, creativity, but also body positivity, which I love. And just being a big goofball. That's the
I
thing.
love it.
The trap is that the fact that I put out thirst traps. I'm really not that person. I can't, like, I have, it's funny, it's like a little persona, but like, at the end of the day, I'm just a big goofball. I'm a big softie. Um, what else? Oliver, it does have a Facebook, so you can come over and, add me. Hello, hello. It will just be under Oliver Twist. hopefully the right person pops up. I look like I'm wearing like an all white outfit with like a bunch of flowers all over me. I think I'm like pointing up to the sky. It was my little Elton John like moment. Uh But yeah, no, that's right now where you can find me as far as upcoming shows. The 1st of June, I will be in Lewisburg for their Pride. The 2nd of June, I'm in North Pocono, but I will be making a big giant post of where all the places I'm going to be. I know I'm going to be down in Nazareth on the 8th of June. I know I'm going to be up at Sanctuary later in June, and I am trying to do the pageant for NEPA Pride pageant. I'll fly.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to definitely make it out to some shows to support in
Yeah.
June to come hang out. Like I said, I really like the community. I like the art form. I want to consume more of it. I think it's pretty fun. It's very welcoming. As listen, I'm speaking to another demographic. As a straight heterosexual man, you can enjoy drag. I promise. You'll have a great time.
There are
Like,
a lot. Actually, 2 of our queens are straight men, and they have a ball doing it. We have Miss Chlamydia Burns. I can't give it up. I mean, I absolutely love Frank with all my heart. Also is a colleague of mine, but love Chlamydia Burns. And if Chlamydia is doing any child-friendly shows, um, it's just Lydia Burns,
yeah.
Miss Burns. Fine.
Miss
And then you
Burns.
have Stephanie Sparkles, who does geriatric drag. She
And
too also
they're straight. They're straight hetero.
absolutely straight, and
Yeah, I
her
actually wondered that. Like, is that a niche in drag?
it
And you
is a
just answered
niche.
that for me. Yeah, that's
You know
awesome.
what's really cute is that, Stephanie Sparkles, not only will, Stephanie do her makeup, but also her wife and her kids have actually gotten involved to do it too. So it's super cute, and I absolutely love it.
That's
But, like,
awesome.
the wife comes out to the shows. Everybody comes out to the shows, we love it. Actually, Stephanie Sparkles will do, they run Norbit's Coffee out in, like, um Effort, PA. But they raise money for a lot of the local places, like the fire department, all that type of stuff,
Hmm.
and he does it in drag. It's even better. You get a cup of coffee, you get to see Stephanie Sparkles, and it donates to a great like, it all different, causes, but donates it all over there.
Yeah, I
It's like
just the
we're here to help people, and yet people wanna demonize us.
Yeah, it just makes you look at the world differently. Like it essentially, like I would say the overall idea of drag is just the ultimate don't judge a book by its cover. Like don't like that's essentially what you're trying to like listen, just because we visually appear a certain way, you should probably get to know us more and maybe us trying to look different is a way of saying like pay attention, like get to know the person and not just the outer appearance. And I think once more people realize that that drag shows aren't these demonized things that you're seeing on the news, and realizing that they're people like everybody else, and they're just
Well, at the end of the
performing an
day
art, and the art is so powerful. Like, is there adult versions of drag? 100%. But there also
absolutely.
is forms where this art can appeal to children. Like the same way in wrestling, you wouldn't take your child to a death match, but you can see your child can go see John Cena all day, and they're in the same spectrum, but two different ways of doing the same performance art.
Absolutely. Like, at the end of the day, like, it is a performance, it is a parody, it is a political stance. We're there to open your eyes and to not be judged. We want you to see things differently. We want you to educate yourself. We want you to expand your mind. Like, there's there's always that saying, like, there's no such thing as a stupid question.
Hmm.
Like, there's no rights or wrong ways of doing drag. There's no, like, ask the questions, we'll answer them for you. At the end of the day, we're all human beings. We all bleed the same,
Yeah. Yeah,
you
I
know?
I think that's been my favorite part of having different people of the community on is like understanding that your question isn't coming from hate, it's coming from generally just not knowing or understanding. And if you approach it that way, no one's going to criticize you or hate you for thinking differently, but as long as you're willing to at least ask the questions to find out what like is happening, like you're gonna open yourself up to a different world of, and just love each other at the end of the day is what it should come down to. And I think drag is a perfect example of that. And I appreciate having you on. It was I had an absolute blast doing this.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And anytime you want me to come back, I absolutely would.
Well, listen, like usually the podcast like guests, I don't think I've had a repeat podcast guest yet, like interview wise, which I'm not against. It's definitely something I want to do, but I think then more people start doing the movie reviews and the pop culture stuff, and I feel like you would be an amazing fit for that. Yeah. So I mean, I've recently had just Dante on, and then Dante and I just did a movie review, and people want more myself and Dante because the chemistry's there. I definitely think you're a guest as well that people want
If
back.
you want to do Dragula episodes, we totally can.
So I was doing Dragula watch-alongs where like we were like 3, 2, 1, hit play, and then just kind of like do a live stream. Like if you're down for sitting for like a 2-hour live stream, we could do Dragula watch-alongs.
Absolutely, 100%.
I think you just made Witchcraft by Lily's year because they really enjoyed doing the Dragula watch-alongs. The only thing that pissed me off, right? The only beef with Dragula is I watched all season 1 and I was like, I cannot. So like I fell in love with the real world. I fell in love with the Bad Girls Club, which was just like really, really attractive women who get drunk and go like love each other one moment and then fist fight each other the next. It's toxic as fuck. And I love the Bad Girls Club. It was my favorite thing ever. But like the reunion shows are always the spicy ones, right? Like that's where everybody kind of comes together. I fell in love with Dragula season 1, was so excited for a reunion show. Not on Shudder. It's not there. You can't watch it. It's like certain episodes, like there's 2 episodes in season 2 that we're on right now that are not on. Like there's 2 episodes they took off the thing, and there's some seasons that do that where they just take 1 or 2 episodes off for whatever reason that may be.
Like you
and
share your accounts for like AMC or anything like that, or do they have that like block like that they do with Netflix?
No, you can't. I mean, that's how I'm essentially using Shudder now. Someone is hooking me up, but like for some reason, like the entire
I hook you up with my AMC. I will hook you up with my AMC.
Is every episode on the AMC?
It should be on there.
Yeah, because on the Shudder, like some are missing. I don't know if I tried to look it up online and people didn't really have an answer for it, but like for some reason, weird episods and seasons are missing.
I'm gonna double check that for you.
Yeah, because season 2 we're about halfway through, and I'm terrible with the names. I can never remember the names.
I think Bitch Pudding is on season 2, and I love me some Bitch Pudding.
I think they already got eliminated. I could be wrong. The one that I like on this season 2, is the one that is like really sick with special effects makeup. Like they did the Hellraiser episode with the face peeled off.
Okay. Is that
they're my favorite. The first season, the winner I had, Victoria Black is the one I like for season 2, and then season 1 is the one I liked the whole way through. Well, the first one I liked was the Ursula Major. I just thought they looked awesome, so that was like my favorite in season 1. But I said from the very beginning that the winner was going to be the one who won the whole thing. Like that was the one I fell in love with. Like I thought they were really fucking good. And then the one that was more of the glam one, but got into it because of they just wanted to try a different scene out, and everyone hated her for it. I thought that was kind of cool. Like I like that dynamic of season 1.
Well, I think you're going to see that definitely in season. I'm trying to think. Because they're on season 5. They just did. Yeah, I was going to say
There's different versions too. There's like 3 different spin-offs of Dragula.
You have, yeah, you definitely have you have like the 2 extra spin-offs on that. Those are a lot of fun.
And there's 2 movies too, right?
I don't know if I've seen the movies.
Yeah, I think there's 2 movies on Shudder too. I was like, oh, there's a lot here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that they have Titans, going through Titans. That's crazy. Yeah, season 5. So they started breaking their rules as it started it kept going, where they ended up having like 4 top people instead of the top 3. So you'll start deep diving into that too. Season 3, we had the first king ever. Yep. Absolutely. So that's the thing, and I knew that was gonna end up happening. Absolutely loved Hollow Eve, though. Hollow Eve was ingenious with a lot of their filthy tactics. They are definitely more on the filth performing side, especially with like having staples or having needles or having like live bugs on that. Like they're the whole aspect. Like they were a filthy like performer,
So
and
they
that is
lean into like the sideshow freak stuff.
definitely
That's
so,
cool.
very much so. I feel like you're going to like season 1, I got hooked in it, but I really got hooked with season 3.
Dude,
Um,
the crucifix in season 1. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah,
yeah,
I was like, what the fuck? I
like
was like, this.
really, like, it gets crazier and crazier. Like I absolutely loved the latest season. I thought it was
Yeah,
absolutely amazing, and then there's people who are like hating on the winner, and I'm like, you can't do that.
yeah.
They chose them for a reason.
Yeah, so
They
you gotta
are
hit me up. You gotta hit me up with days and times that you're free the best, and we will set up like Dragula watch alongs. I think that would be so much fun because I have so many questions during it, and I'm just like, I wish somebody was right here to answer this. Like, you can go back and watch it. We did season 1 the whole way through. We
oh
just
yeah,
didn't do the finals. Or did we do the finals? I don't remember. I have to go look. But
just
I
seeing
watched. I had so much fun. I loved it. I was hooked. I was like, I want to watch more, but we've already streamed for 2 hours.
was gonna say I'm just seeing the beautiful little comment just saying I wouldn't recommend the live bugs from Australia. I'm gonna tell you right now, no, I'm good. Mm-mm. Nope. That probably would be the only thing I'd actually definitely have to get over is bug eating. Even though what we consume 2.5 spiders a year.
I ate crickets once. They were chocolate covered crickets. And then I ate a honey covered scorpion because it was badass. They're like, who would eat a scorpion? And I was like, I'll eat it. I was like, I'll say I'm the man who ate a scorpion. We went to go see a Dolly art museum exhibit and they were serving bugs. And I was like, when in Rome, right?
I feel
I
like if
was like,
it's there, like I will definitely try it.
that's
You
exactly
know,
what it came down to. I was trying to be
we got
cool.
some roaches from Madagascar. Here's the
Yeah.
thing, I love bugs. I think they're cute and adorable and all that. I don't want to eat them. Now, if it goes in my nose or it goes in my mouth by accident, like that's on the bug's fault. That's not my fault.
Yeah.
I will be trying to evacuate it out of my system as soon as possible. It
Actually, what and if anyone has any questions, I ask one more time to get them out there. I do have one last quick one here that just kind of popped into my head. When it comes to performances or things that you've done so far in your career, what are some performances that really stand out to you, or are things that you were able to put together?
Ooh. So I started being really hard on myself last year where I was starting to feel, well, by other people, unfortunately, like a washed out king, that I didn't have the spark anymore. Um, and hearing other things in the grapevine that really made me put a lot more pressure on myself. So, me getting back into the game of performing and actually being like standout like showpieces for me, one had to have been being the first king to actually perform for um oh geez, what the crap is it called? It was down in Harrisburg. They did like their Harrisburg arena, and it mostly was of queens. I was the only king in my group, and then Peter Pansy has done it, I want to say twice. Um, I got a little bit more I didn't get really extremely harsh feedback, but I was told I didn't have like the same, like, I needed more energy. And I'm like, but I'm also a king. And like, there is a certain energy that I do give. It's just different than what you're seeing.
Hmm.
Uh, so it is also not necessarily hard, but sometimes I feel like we
You're
do get
being
a
judged
lot of
differently.
yeah, I feel like we're being judged on the same level, and I'm like, it's 2 completely different levels.
Yeah, you have to
Um,
look at each. You're playing a different character essentially. Like you're
I'm
doing a
not a
different. You're
I'm not a bouncy queen. I
yeah, yeah.
can't be bouncy king if I need to, if I'm doing that type of role. But that wasn't my performance at that point. So like I was very proud of myself for actually going above and beyond and doing that. And showcasing like, hey, kings can put it out all on the stage just as queens do. But also I think it was my like callback little moment for last year's Pride pageant. I was just asked to come to perform, not to compete. And I came out and I put it all on that stage and I did Elton John's well, it was Taron Egerton's version of I'm Still Standing. Just
Fucking
letting
love
people
that
know it's like
song.
I'm still here and I'm
Mhm.
better than I've ever been.
I love
You
that song.
know,
If you're fucking feeling down about yourself or you feel like you dude, even if you just accomplish a small goal, like start with small goals first. But if you just play some Elton John, I'm still standing after you accomplish some dope shit, like you're unstoppable. Like it's you're gonna take over the world.
it's just like, I mean, like, I know I have my own, like, you know, past, my own traumas, my own everything, and I'm still here and I'm still fighting.
Mhm.
And, you know, I've not given that up. So it's just like one of those things where it's like, even though I was being very harsh on myself and being, you know, very hypercritical and thinking that I was so washed out that I'm just like, why am I allowing this person to get into my head? And also myself when I can be much better than that.
Yeah, I love that. With the drag stuff too, do you film a lot of your performances? Like when you go do stuff, like how the Sanctuary, everything you can go back and like rewatch your performance because Sanctuary filmed it. Is that a thing in the drag community where people film and record their performances?
Some people do. I have some of mine recorded that are on my phone. Not everything gets recorded. Some
That's
people will tag
crazy.
me and stuff that they record. I don't always get like we just had a Mother's Day show down in Philly. Um, and it was like, you know, a big like heartfelt type of show because Philly lost one of their um performers. Um due to a hate crime.
Mm,
So they were also trying to, you know, shed a lot of light, um, allow for safe spaces to be there and be open and to, you know, tell people like, you know, like love one another, like make sure your friends get home, make sure you're, you know, walking them to their car, all that type of stuff. But that was just one of those, like, heartfelt moments that everybody was kinda, like, taping and recording, you know, and I got to see, like, little snippets of it, and I'm just like, "No, I really love this." You know, I got to
mhm.
see some of the photos because some people sent them my way. Um, but that was just, like that scene down there is, like, super impactful. They're a great crowd to get involved with too. Um, but, yeah, no, I have some of my stuff. I don't have everything.
That should be
Um
something that you look into the more. Just all you need is like essentially. I'm just gonna wrestling like a hard cam, just one camera that stays hard in the middle of the show in the thing that gets dead center of the runway, and then just have someone man that camera, and then just at the end of each show, just chop up each performance, send it to the performers if they
Yeah.
can throw a couple bucks towards the camera person that day. But I think that should be a role in the community where more people can see your performances because so much work goes into the makeup and money goes into the makeup and costumes and everything like that. Are the
We do
kits I don't
everything
want to
ourselves a lot of the
yeah,
time,
I just
really,
I
to be
just think
honest with
throwing a
you.
couple bucks for someone to be a filmer at those things would be vital, just to get branding out there more to see or just to even have a video journal of past performances to see how you got better or changed over the years.
I know, like, I'll post some of my videos, or I'll post, like, little snippets. I know I try to be a little bit better on TikTok about it.
Mhm.
Again, sometimes I already have this all painted on, and I'm like, "Dang it, I was supposed to do something beforehand. I was supposed to do a cute
Yeah.
little transition." Didn't happen. Oops.
Yeah,
You
if I go to
know?
a wrestling show and there's no cameras or production, I'm like, why are we doing this? Like,
Yeah,
are
you mean,
you
like,
doing it just
especially
for the
for
people in the
wrestling.
crowd? But like, you should film your stuff. Like, I don't know.
See, we will have, like, people who will, like, take video and, like, at least on our phones, which is nice. Um, I know Sierra has done that for me a few times, or
Mhm.
she'll send me some videos that she has taken before in the past. I'm like, "I had no idea that you had this." Because again, not everybody like, I don't always have, somebody with me when I'm performing, which I have to be a little bit more careful about, especially with Pride and all the other places I've been going to. Uh, I know I've dealt with it in Wilkes-Barre like a couple years ago where like I just was accosted and bothered at like, a gas station. It's not always fun.
Mm,
I try to make sure that I have somebody or at least like go, "Hey, I'm here. Hey, I'm leaving." And I don't get out of my car. Like I make sure I'm fully gassed up and everything ready to go. Um,
that so sucks.
because I
That's
don't want
once again, that's a
to
thing that doesn't cross my brain to think of, and like that people
Yeah.
have to live like that. It sucks. It
Well,
sucks.
if I was a king that wasn't so theatrical with my face, that would be one thing. But because I'm so theatrical and I'm not more realistic, I am going to be bothered. And I'm tiny. I'm not like a 6-foot giant, in heels. Like, I'm not in heels. I'm not like towering over people and like I can bring out like, deep vibrato. I'm tiny. I am built like a wall. Don't get me wrong. I am a thicker king, which is one of those things that's definitely has helped me is that I'm being more body positive. I'm trying to be much better about myself. Mentally, emotionally, all that. But like, I know I can hold my own, but I don't want to be caught in that situation.
Yeah.
I see
Yeah.
Oliver, do you analyze
Yeah.
yourself? You see your videos, and if so, how do you get over and deal with that? Sometimes I really am proud of my moments in my videos. Speaking of orange cat. Um, say hi to Franklin, everybody. This is Franklin. um, Sometimes I have my performances and they're great, and I'm like, "You know what? I really like this, but I wish I did this." I'm always going to analyze myself. I'm always going to be much harder on myself than anybody else.
Mhm.
And it's really bad, especially being an artist. I'm always overcritical. I always think I can be better, or I always think like, okay, not better in a sense like I'm better than other people, but I'm like, I know that I could push forth better work. Um, it's the same thing with drag. I know I can push forth better work. Or I go,
Yeah.
"Hey, you know what? That wasn't my best." I have videos where I look at them and I go, "Oh no, absolutely not. I was not feeling it that day." Hey, Franklin. Um, no thoughts behind those little eyes of his. Absolutely none.
Well, I think we will wrap it up there. I really appreciate everyone for hanging out. Oliver, I appreciate you for coming on. I had an absolute blast. We'll definitely set up some more content in the future. It was really, really insightful. Thank you for teaching me once again more things about this scene. I absolutely love it. I can't wait to consume more of it and go and support. June is coming up, so now more than ever, you should go out and support your community, whether you're in it or are not in it. Become an ally. What I mean? Trust me, I'm an ally. I go to them. It's a blast. You'll be amazing. Just like they're just as accepting as anyone else, if not more.
Also,
It's
do have caution when going to some events. If you feel like you are uncomfortable with the situation, it is okay to leave.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
I loved it. Listen, I first went my when I was fresh off my recent separation divorce, and was not confident in myself at all. I was just like, man. And I left there feeling pretty high on myself. I was like, listen, if I were to ever switch, your boy's doing well. People all day long were telling me I was a good looking guy. I was like, I'm back, baby.
But
It
yeah,
did not
no,
translate
hey.
to it did not translate to women, but it's all right. I still got what I needed. Yeah, it
Trust
was
me.
beautiful. I had such a blast. I cannot wait. We'll definitely get linked together more. I love the Dragula idea. I want to watch so much, but I can't watch by myself because it's one of those shows I watch with somebody, with Lily. So I hate it. I hate it. So yeah. But
Yeah,
here's some music.
good about it. You gotta be good about it. You can't
I
just
hate
watch
it.
ahead.
I hate
My
that rule.
girlfriend, she loves watching ahead on things, and I go, why did I even attempt at watching this with you?
Yeah. Yeah. Don't commit to a show with me because I'm gonna get bored and ADHD is gonna be like, I need that now, and I'm gonna go watch it. So
What's it to scratch the itch?
yep. Let's wrap it up there. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out for the ABJ podcast episode 139 with Oliver Twist. Make sure you check all the links below. Follow both of us on social media and find out other ways you could support, whether it be merch or going to see them live at a show. We'll see you next time on the ABJ podcast. We're out of here.
Awesome.
This is an ABJ Podcast production. Join us. Would you kindly join us at the Cult of ABJ Discord community? We'll see you there. Join us.